Welcome to the Mom Founders Table. Pull up a chair and join me every week as I become your thought partner and help you lead to create change. I'm your host, Kelsey Kenry, entrepreneur, millionaire mom of three, and strategic business coach for established mom entrepreneurs. Every week, you will get tactical guidance to apply to your business, leadership, and life that will help you further your true success while also being invited into a new way of thinking and being that creates true freedom. I'm here to call you out and call you up, so take a seat and let's begin. Welcome back to another episode of the Mom Founders Table. I'm pretty pumped today because I feel like this woman is a woman that we have crossed paths on the interwebs for multiple years. We have multiple mutual friends, and I'm actually going to be moving to Texas where she lives. So we're going to get to meet IRL, which I'm stoked for. So I am so excited, Jordan, to have you here today. Can you just tell my audience who you are, what you do, and then give us a fun fact that maybe people wouldn't know about you?
Yes. So I'm Jordan Gill, founder of Systems Saved Me, and I hail into Dallas, Texas. So Kelsey will be joining me soon, which I'm super excited about. And I've been in business 10 years. I have had many evolutions, as we all have. Some people know me from my Done in a Day era, which was all about VIP days and how to take your 3-month services and turn them into a 1-day intensive. And then since then, I have really been playing in the realm of how to use AI to make money through tools and actual software. And that has been so incredible because while I am a systems person and automations and integrations, I'm not a developer. So I don't know how to code. And that was always a riff that I had in just my skill set. I was like, I have so many ideas of how to make things better, how to solve problems, and I cannot develop anything. I tried the developer route. It's special. That's all I have to say on that. It's very expensive. It's time consuming. And so when the tools came out like Lovable or Replit, where I could take my idea, say it in human terms, and have the tool get built, I was off to the races. And I've built several tools in the last year and a half-ish or so. So that's what I'm up to now. I am a wife. I'm a bonus mom full-time, and I'm a dog mom to my cockapoo, Vivian. And something that people may not know about me is that I've moved 12 times in my life. I went to 3 different high schools. And so I'm just a really good chameleon, if you will. I'm just somebody who's very flexible, very adaptable because I was thrown into completely different environments. I'm talking high school in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and then high school in Buffalo, New York, high school in Lincoln, Nebraska, completely different states. They had different languages and vibes. It was wild. But yeah, a little something that people may not know about me.
Girl, I feel that so much. I think when I counted, I think I went to 8 different schools, and it was just
Cool.
Yeah. I think that's why what makes us good with people though, is we understand, we know how to get in a room and just be I don't have tolerance for surface level stuff. I'm just hi, I'm Kelsey. What's your trauma? What's the shit you don't want to say out loud? I don't know how because it's I don't know when I'm going to leave. I don't know when I'm going to move this school. So let's just get right to it. So I know exactly how that feels. Okay. So I have obviously seen you, watched you for many, many years. And I still remember you had I think it was an ad that you did. And it was one of my favorite ads. I think it was for VIP days. And it was the one where you were in the shower.
Oh yeah.
And you and I was this girl is so fun. What I love so much about you is that you mesh, in my mind, you mesh 2 worlds that are okay, systems and kind of stuff that people would think is techie and whatever. And you make it so normal and so chill. And I just think that the way that you present things is just so it normalizes it, and it doesn't make it feel out of reach for people. And so I've always loved that about your marketing and the way that you do things. So what has been in your 10 years, I want to dig into, I was saying before this call, I'm we're grandmas. I've been here for 15 years. You've been here and so we have seen some shit, right?
Yes.
I want to hear from you. What is your take on just the online industry right now, the disruption of AI? What have you seen happen in your evolution, and where do you think with where we're headed, what we need to know?
Yes. So when I entered the industry, in 2016. I actually had worked for 2 years prior inside of an 8-figure like e-commerce consulting, um, I guess brand, personal brand. They're no longer in
Mm.
the space. They actually are now behind Truvani. I don't know if you're familiar with that brand with what's her name? Vani. She's the food babe. She like goes around and like
Oh
makes sure that
yeah.
there's not like
Okay.
chemicals in our food and stuff.
Yeah.
So they're doing really cool stuff now. But not that they weren't then, but I got basically a crash course for 2 years behind the scenes of like how to like launch courses, launch masterminds, launch memberships. My boss was in masterminds with the likes of like Stu McLaren and Amy Porterfield and like all those people back in like 2014. It was really interesting and I learned so much from that experience for 2 years that then coming into the space by myself, I was like used to having teams and ad spends and all these things. And I was like, oh yeah, okay, here I am by myself, but you make it work, you make it work. And what was so interesting about that time is like you honestly, I don't want to say you could launch anything, but like there was not the amount of conversations and launches and sales pages and podcasts and YouTube. Like it was very barren, I will say, just very like, oh, cool. Like I remember for my boss at the time, I created an entire course that I want to say we sold for $2,000, which again, whatever, but it was all about how to create the perfect lead magnet. Would anybody and their mom or grandma purchase that for $2,000 today? Absolutely not. We made almost 7 figures on that launch. Okay. So I have seen it from that space then go into, especially with AI, but just how information is valued. And I think now it is more about experiential information or stuff that people have actually experienced versus back then it was more just like, do you know the topic? Again, do you know how to go into Canva and create a worksheet and have a be a lead magnet sort of thing? So it wasn't really, we've built a ton of lead magnets and that sort of stuff. It was way more just straight information. And now people have to know who you are and why you over somebody else, which again was not a conversation before, to know,
Mm.
okay, I want to learn Jordan's methods of systems versus Susie Q and Johnny Appleseeds, right? So I actually appreciate that and I love that about where we are right now because I think I'm just a relational person. So I'm like, of course, I want to learn this thing from this person versus somebody else. And so it's less about, oh, everyone's already talking about it and more about, well, how are you differentiated, right? People may want to know why, how I do it's weird. My Instagram stuff does really well. And I am not an Instagram expert really in that realm. That's not what I sit on the throne with. But because of the way I show up and my marketing and how I approach it is generally speaking very different than a lot of people that do more of the shiny marketing. I'm like, hey, I woke up in bed and I'm just going to tell you this thing. And you're either going to think I'm cool or not. And that's totally fine. So now, especially with AI, it's way more about your experience. And so you have to be comfortable sharing your experience, which involves a whole nother layer of confidence and courage and bravery that you didn't necessarily have to have before. So that's something I like about where we're at right now. Things that make it where I don't necessarily like it right now is, and I would love your take on this too, is that people are forgetting that they're like the expert. Like they are leaning so heavily on AI as if AI knows more. When really, again, I see AI as an executive, like they're executing. Like they are not necessarily the strategists for me.
Mm.
That's just my personal take. I drive
Preach.
the strategy because I have the 10 years in this industry. The AI does not. And I also don't want to start to formulate how I roll based on the patterns that AI sees. Like why would I want to do that when I know more, have experienced more, have better success than the average person using AI and where they're gaining information from. So that's kind of my take on AI. I love AI and I use it very specifically in my business to where I still am the driver. I'm still the genius, so to speak, behind the strategies. And I just use AI to execute and to build.
Hmm. I completely agree with that. And I think what's interesting is if you go to the science of our brain.
Mm-hmm.
Like we know that like if we don't continue learning, our brain starts shrinking. And
Yes.
I think that's my internal worry with AI is I think
Yeah.
that not
Mm-hmm.
only are we outsourcing our ability to learn, but I think in doing that, we're also outsourcing our ability to trust ourselves, right? To
Yeah.
where I completely understand wanting to cross check and
Totally.
definitely being data driven, right, and having it as a tool to like analyze data and all of those
Yes.
things. And I also think that especially as women and the further
Mm-hmm.
along that we get, the more we intuitively know, but we don't want that to, we're like not okay with trusting ourselves. And like
Yes.
that's something that
Yes.
I think is to just really agree with what you're saying. I think that's something that's dangerous about AI is
Mm-hmm.
if we are letting it drive the bus, if we are letting it make all of our executive decisions, if we aren't questioning what is coming back from AI, if we aren't scrutinizing, if we aren't playing with everything, you know, it's like we all know what AI copy looks like. And so I think that the best way to put it is exactly what you said, where like you still have to be the brain and the emotional intelligence. Like AI can't do that, you know?
Mm-mm.
And that's why I think like my job will never be taken by AI because you can throw
Yeah.
all of your business problems in there and it's going to
Mm-hmm.
tell you to do a bunch of shit, but not hold any emotional space for you or hold you accountable to doing.
Yeah. And it's not going to take those feelings and experience into consideration. Again, it's just pooling from what everybody else is chatting. And no offense to the world, but like I have, again, 10 years of experience versus I don't know what the average is out there. So I don't want to take bad advice into my aura. And also, things work differently for me. So I may get advice to go in a polished studio and record a bunch of stuff when I know that, and my data says, because I know how to read my data, that that's not going to cut it. Like people actually like that they feel like they're literally just like sitting in bed with me or out at the coffee shop with me or in my car. Like that is part of who I am. And so to strip that away would actually be detrimental to me. So, it's things like that it can get really blurred lines and actually start to get dangerous and then actually really affect your business.
I agree. Do you feel like, because I was thinking about, I know that you have like your carpool car line, like, and that's the thing that I love so much. It does feel like you're just hanging out with Jordan, like you're just hanging out with her. You're sitting in the car, and I think like for me, and I think for a lot of consumers, because like the pendulum swung so far to like create content. This is how you drive sales, selling all the time, make your life look fancy,
Yes.
go and record all this content in this fancy place, pretend you have the bags, the cars, whatever, all that stuff. And I think it went so far left to where it really was about status and buying for status. Then now we're starting to see a return. And I don't know if you're seeing this, and I assume this
Yes,
is why
I
your
am.
business is so successful. But I know for me, I'm like, I like some nice things, but also like,
Totally.
I am a little bit ratchet and like I'm very tattooed and I cuss a lot and also I'm professional. So just like the mix of those two worlds and having
Yeah.
people say like that's why I like you, Kelsey, is because you're fully yourself, and I feel it's the resonance. And so I feel like the pendulum is starting to swing back to where it's like we want to see you in your bathrobe actually with no makeup, and we want to see you kind of like speak this like incredible knowledge. And I feel like your content is such proof that it's about what you say. Like, is the content actually fucking good? Because everybody's like, create all this content, push it all out. But I'm like, yeah, but if you have like 97 clips that all suck ass, then who cares?
Yeah, it's
You
not gonna.
know?
Yeah, it's not gonna happen. And I like what you said about just like the dichotomies of who you are, and like me being, I'm half black, half white. So if you're listening to this, you can't see that, but if you go to my Instagram, you will see I'm biracial, and so I'm just, my whole life is a walking dichotomy. And so I think a lot of people have those sides of where it's like, I am professional, I am all this stuff, but also there's a part of me that like contradicts, or I guess kind of brand wise could contradict this professional side, because for some reason professional is like sitting with a wood desk with wood bookshelves and like we're all just hanging out. Like
So much
actually we're
wood.
just like sitting on chairs and sitting in beds and sitting like in the car. Like that's what we're doing. And it's funny to see, I agree with you, there definitely is a swing. And I've even seen in like launches and stuff where people who've been super successful now have to manage what they say because now they've become unrelatable or they've become so out of touch that they now are having to kind of morph back, but they also like aren't that version of themselves anymore. And so then it's like weird. And I'm like, listen, I've been like a comfortpreneur since jump. Like we have been doing this thing. I have not
I love
changed.
that. I've never heard that before. I love that.
Literally last year, it was like I don't know, one of the words of the year somewhere that was like comfortpreneur is in, and I was like, I've been doing this the whole time. Like, is
You're like, that was
what do you
always
mean?
me.
Like, so, and I get it and I understand. And you want to kind of, and again, I have nice photos of myself too. I speak a lot on stages and all of that. So I'm not necessarily saying you do all one or all the other, right? That black and white thinking is not helpful. And it's just like right now, people just want to get to know you. And that's why then they
Hmm.
want to buy is because they understand your way of thinking or they can relate to something that's happening in your life. Like I talk about carpool content and why I created it is because I'm literally in the car majority of the day. And so I had to figure out a way to make content in my car. And a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, I'm in the car a lot. Like this is amazing, right? And so then you're able to relate in that way. But I wanted to bring up the dichotomy that you brought up because I think a lot of us live in that kind of balancing act of just like, how do I show up that's me? But also does say like, I know my shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
And that's the
right?
thing. I think to your point before, when you were saying like what's happening right now is kind of like, in my eyes, it's like curtains are being pulled back. Like people are
Yeah.
seeing, I
Yeah.
know, especially in my industry, like people are coming to me and they're coming to me because they're like, I know that your clients get results. I know that
Yeah.
you have a proven track record, like recession proof, like economy proof. Like there's a reason
Right.
why you continue to succeed. And I'm like, that's because I prioritize client experience, client satisfaction. Like that's the whole purpose of the business, right?
Yeah.
And so I think there's to be able to now understand how the online space grew so much and people really putting so much emphasis on that and how that created this disconnection when humans are built for connection has been really interesting to see. And now people, I think, are like, wait, I want to be with people and I want to be in rooms with people. And that was like why I created City Girls, because I was like, there's this gap in like actually bring people together to mastermind and workshop and be in community
Mhm.
outside of their business. So here's a question that I have for you. When we're thinking about systems, right? And we're thinking about systems for where we are right now, knowing kind of who my audience is, right? So we have these busy mom entrepreneurs. They've got something that's successful. They want to keep growing it. They also don't want it to eat into their personal life anymore. What are some of the systems or what things would you tell them? Like, these are things that right now you need to be looking at or have or pay attention to.
Yeah. So it's always interesting to think about what my answer has been from like all past like podcasts. And now recently my answer has kind of switched a little bit in terms of one thing is for a lot of people, they're on a lot of calls because they've got meetings, they've got all sorts of stuff. And so one thing that they're not wanting to do is again have note takers and all that sort of stuff or have like a person note taking. And what I think is a cool, beautiful thing that we have right now is something like Granola or Fathom or things like that that could sit on all your meetings and basically create a database of all of your team's conversations and then essentially be able to disseminate that information wherever it needs to live, whether that's Slack, whether that's ClickUp, Asana, etc. And so we're in this really cool intersection where before, like I think about again when I had a big team, it's like we had to create this whole trickle down like okay, somebody physically needs to tell somebody something that was said in a meeting and then we also have to physically create the tasks from the meeting and like all that stuff can be done now. So the speed to execution is a lot faster if you can again if you have a team and you're having to share information. One of my biggest things to do is get you a granola, not like granola the food, granola the I mean sure granola the food
maybe
is
that
delicious,
maybe that too. Maybe you
right?
also need
Yes,
to not skip your lunch break and eat
that
something.
part. So the meeting tool or Fathom or something that will record all of your meetings. And you don't realize how much that eats into your day or somebody's day where they're having to make sure that everybody knows what was just discussed and it's in the right place and it's searchable for somebody else. All of that stuff now can happen without humans needing to be involved, which I think is awesome.
Mm.
So then mentally, hey, this has it, it's going to put it in the right place, and I also know where to find it because it's a system, it's a process. We don't have to guess and somebody putting it in a different place. So that's one thing. A second thing is always with content, which I think is such a big part of all of our businesses right now. It feels like, and I don't mean it all has to be social media content, it could be podcasts, it could be YouTube, it could be just content is so many things, Substack. But especially those of us who, again, is in Kelsey's audience, repurpose. And I'm not kidding. So something that I'm doing actually right now is I'm looking at a bunch of my speaking content, a bunch of my podcast content like this, and I'm actually taking a bunch of screen grabs from it, just like where I'm making different faces or I'm pointing or I'm making a weird gesture. And then I'm actually having Claude create those little screen grab duplicates, if you've seen those, where
Mm.
it's has a little writing underneath. And that doesn't even have to be what I was talking about on that stage or on that podcast interview. But I can take my points of view from past coaching sessions, past speaking engagements, past podcasts I've done, and repurpose that on those screen grabs and easily have a new, fresh way for me to say something I've said probably millions of times in a new format that
Mm.
then can be repurposed across multiple platforms that do images. So repurposing is huge. I know people think about slicing up their speaking or their podcast, absolutely there too, but just not thinking that you have to always come up with something new, especially in this world of AI. It feels like we have to come up with stuff that's new, but I'm telling
Mm-mm.
you, there's some stuff that I've shared so many times at this point. I'm like, y'all have got to be tired of hearing this. And yet I share it again in a different format and people go nuts over it. One of the things is if you have Google Gmail or Google Suite, there's a little profile pic that you have, and most people don't even think to put their face on it. So then it's this weird blue S or something. Some people put an image, but what I do is I actually created a GIF, and it looks like basically a flashing number of a notification. My open rates are so solid because of that blinking notification. I have shared that little tip along with a very easy 90-second tutorial on how to set it up. At this point, I've lost count. I've shared it so many times, and yet it's one of my best performing pieces of content. And it's because it helps people with their email open rates and it's out of the box.
Okay, the fucking Google icon thing just blew my mind, but also I followed you for a long time. I've never seen that. So that's just a testament of you're I've said this a million times, and I'm I've never seen it. So I think if anything, it's a reminder and permission of you're supposed to repeat yourself and please repurpose. Yes. And honestly, I love just repurposing to a different format because I think we have different buyer types, right? Yes. We have different consumer types. I will consume different types of content, even based on where I am in my cycle. Right. So I think these are things that we don't consider because we're considering if you just take a day, not even a day, a couple of hours and put yourself in the seat of your client, everything changes in the way that you do your business. I feel
totally. I agree.
It's so I love that you shared that dip. I'm that's fucking genius. I feel you're so full of just hacks. I just need to sit in a room with Jordan for 5 hours and just write down all of her hacks.
All the hacks.
Or just record it and then just give it to my team.
Totally, yes. Let them go handle it for sure.
Yes, but so tools to make execution and getting information in the right hands easier. I know that so in my team, we have all of my Zoom recordings from coaching clients, the AI summaries from those go into a Slack channel that is called our Pain Gain channel. So then we can easily pull results, action steps, problems that clients are dealing with. So then we could utilize those across our marketing. And that was something that was just
so good.
I don't have to do anything for it. It's automatic. So I think little things like that of what can make things easier. So When it comes to systems that you implement into your business, what are some of the most helpful systems that you have taught or help people implement that drastically will drastically decrease the mental load? Because that's where a lot of my clients get stuck. Is like we are living with 17 million open tabs between
Yes.
kids and marriage and like trying to juggle all the balls.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, my bread and butter has pretty much always been well, I guess it hasn't always been, but I would say recently, more in the last, whatever, 5 years, has been more on the marketing and sales systems. And
Mm.
then I would say my first 5 years were more on the client management side. I'm going to speak to the client management first and I'll come back to marketing and sales. For client management, something that I think people often are overlooking is how to actually track the success of your clients. A lot of times you're like, yes, I got them the transformation, but you're not actually recording or making tabs on just like the actual process and
Mm.
how well it worked. So, like, for example, something that I did when I was doing the VIP day program is I had a very specific way of tracking. Okay, someone joined the program and then they would put a post in at the time Facebook group, the like, oh, I just sold a VIP day. So what would happen is we would be able to pull that information in and automatically it would in my Airtable base, which is just a basically fancy spreadsheet software,
Mhm.
and it would track, okay, how many days has it been since they joined the program to when they first sold one. And then we would also look at, okay, when did they share that they actually did their first VIP day. That would then go and help my marketing and sales because I could say 70% of our students sold their first VIP day within the first 30 days of our program. That
Mm.
matters, right? Like those are the numbers and things that push people over the edge to join your stuff.
Yep.
But a lot of times we're just looking for, yeah, like we just did another client, hooray. And it's like cool. And also like what happened like with that individual client, but also then in totality, looking at those stats that you can pull and really leverage in your marketing and your sales. And then on the marketing and sales side, something that I really love doing is I'm like good with sales calls. I don't have a anti-sales call mentality at any rate at all. And I generally need like a flexible sales system just because of how my life is set up. And so a lot of times I will do, have you heard of Video Ask? It's like
No. Tell me.
all the tools, all the hacks. So,
It's 5 hours. Sorry, guys. This
right,
is
yeah,
8 hour
5 hours is starting
podcast
now.
episode.
Yeah. So in Video Ask, it's actually what you would consider like a video funnel. So you go onto someone's page and you'll see it now on some people's pages where either it's like a pop-up on the bottom right or it actually is big on a section of their website. And it'll be me talking or whoever talking and saying, hey, I'm Jordan. Thanks so much for being on my website. What are you looking for the most help with today? And say that I help people with marketing, sales, delivery. So then you can create 3 buttons on that video that says marketing, sales, delivery. And if someone's hit sales, they're going to say, sales, awesome. So here are the ways that I actually can help you. Tell me a little bit more about what your specific issues are. And then if they choose marketing, they're going to get a completely different video from me that I pre recorded that says, oh,
Mm-hmm.
marketing, awesome. Like, I'm a marketer too, or whatever. Okay, delivery, that has a whole separate video. So it basically creates a video funnel where you can help guide people into a sales conversation to then at the end, I will say, hey, shoot me your name and email, which is just in the form, and I'll respond to everything that you just said to me. And I'll go back and forth with them, either in audio or in video through Video Ask, which is really cool. It just sends emails back and
Wow.
forth because my people are flexible too. And so finding time between me and them that works for us to get on a phone call is a lot. And so while some people are like, I just want to hop on a phone, cool. For my people, I know that they need flexible. So that's either going to be a Voxer chat or that's going to be, again, a video sales funnel. But it's cool because we have so many tools now that can help you have that process where you're talking to me, right? Like it's me in the video sales funnel, but then I'm also able to gather information for us to have a really efficient conversation that then can lead to, again, are we a good fit to work together or not? And so thinking through what tools do I need to support the way that I need to sell or to market or whatever. And then also on the client delivery side and client management side, what are the stats that I'm missing for my marketing that would just have people rushing to us because we clearly become known as the quickest way to create a VIP day or to build a system or to do XYZ thing.
Yeah, I love everything that you just said. Again, just another amazing tool. But what I'm hearing is a couple of things. The first thing that I'm hearing is like making sure that you're data driven, making sure that you are collecting data. And that's something I feel like I repeat no matter who I'm talking to. I'm like,
Yeah.
please remember that data is non emotional. And
Yes.
we are women. We have hormonal cycles. We are emotional. So let's
Mhm.
just accept that and let's
Yep.
know that data isn't. So let's collect more data. So I love the reminder of just like collecting data post purchase, right? Collecting data
Yeah.
throughout all processes and making sure that
Yeah.
that's documented and then rolling that into sales. I know for me, anytime that I go on and I'm like, hey, I just, did this for a client. I just found, that if by implementing this and making this change, this is going to equate to potentially X
Mhm.
amount of dollars per revenue or annual revenue just by doing something. Like I had a client who we built this offer during her VIP day because all of my private clients start with the VIP day actually.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And so she was telling me all these things she was doing. And she was like, well, I'm doing this over here and this over here and this over here. And I basically just repackaged it. She was doing all this stuff for free, right? Repackaged it. We launched it and she had over $100,000 launch and very first time launching this offer. And I'm like, this
Love
was
it.
literally sitting right in front of her. But like
Right.
sharing that kind of stuff that is more data driven, that is like when you take these pieces, it can create this result. And I like to be like transparent and like, this is not or the result that could come
Totally.
for everybody, which is why I like to tell the backstory of like, this is what we did. But I
Yes.
just think that a lot of times we get so caught up in like the marketing tactics of like, this is how your content needs to look with these key things that it takes us out of the reality of like, hey, your marketing funnel should feed your sales funnel. So, like,
Yes.
are you actually speaking to the results that you get in your business? So, I love that reminder. And I love like the tool. And the cool thing that I heard when you were talking about this is that it sounds like you have had this equal balance of creating your processes in your business to suit your life while also recognizing it will work for your client.
Always. It's got to be a win-win. It can't just feel like, oh, this is all serving me or it's all serving them. Neither of those things are going to work
Mm,
for me, right? It's just unsustainable. And so I think that is where you need to understand, okay, am I just making this all about me and I'm not getting any engagement, reaction from my people or whatever? Okay, well, how do you make that better? How do you make it easier? What does that look like? And it could be a tool change or it could be a messaging change, could be all sorts of things, but there's got to be a balance there. There's got to be a win-win because that's really how you can stick it out for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, however long we all gonna be here. So that's crucial for me. Like I definitely wouldn't do anything in my business that was just all self-serving for me.
hmm. Yeah, and I think it's important. Like, I love that you brought that up and that you did say that because I think some people need that permission. Because I think we're told like sales needs to look like this, and I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, but your sales process can be anything you want it to be,
Mhm.
truthfully.
Yeah.
And like, I know that our sales process, I took a risk of by starting with an inquiry form that requires some time to
Mhm.
fill out an application, and also knowing that my clients are extremely busy. I did that on purpose because I don't
Right.
want to have a conversation or spend my time on somebody that is not ready or committed. And so I
Agreed.
think about like their psychology and how they're coming to me and what they need. And so I just think this is where like I feel like a lot of our conversation is develop your systems in your
Yes.
business by thinking about your client.
Oh, yes. Like, and not even just about, again, their preferences per se, because I think sometimes people think they know their preferences, but if you don't show them a new way, that could also potentially, be of service to their preferences. I think, it's that, what is that
Mm,
Henry Ford quote that's like, oh, if I asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses, right? Because cars weren't a thing.
mm,
And so I tend to live in a place that is super innovative. And what I come up with is usually the first of or the first of few because weirdly enough, I'm like, this is some sort of torture chamber I've created for myself sometimes where I have to like educate people because it's so different from what they can grasp that I really have to massage and like create a lot of analogies and create a lot of comparisons to help people understand what it is that I'm offering because
Mm.
it's not something that they've even heard before, right? So yeah, I think people do have preferences, and then sometimes if you show them a new way, they're like, oh, actually, like I like that way better. Like that's way better and cooler and more helpful. So great, let's do it that way, you know?
And you do it so well. Like, again, I can't give you enough kudos on just like
Thank you.
how just it feels like to come on this and be and like see you for the first time in person, but feel like I already know you and feel like we're already connected. Like, that really does speak to the way that you market and deliver. So, if you guys are listening and you are not following Jordan on all platforms already, like, I love your threads. Like, I think I love all of your marketing.
Thank you.
So when we're thinking about systematizing, right? And we know, okay, I've got this busy business. I know that things are not necessarily optimized or efficient. We've had some talk about like some different tools that we can use. What would you say if you were going to prioritize like what to systematize in your business? Where should somebody start?
I always say client facing systems first.
Okay.
Mainly because one, I've been behind the scenes of so many 7, 8, 9 figure businesses that are messy as all get out and they still making money and it's okay. So but it's because their client side is good. The back end side may not be so good. And so
True.
the amount of times I see that, it's like, okay, yeah, like you want to make sure that your clients are good. And I'm not saying that you need to sacrifice your own sanity for it. However, that's really what helps with the referral pipeline and the sharing and that natural, just like, oh my gosh, like this was a great experience. And I want other people to have the great experience. Again, then once that's kind of lined up, then you can get into kind of the back end systems that nobody sees and nobody even knows exists. There's some overlap there, but I would say client facing systems for sure, which can also include pre client systems, right? How are you? Is the sales process good? Like all this sort of stuff. And I think, something that is interesting. I was joining a AI kind of workshop situation. And it was interesting because like I bought like a VIP ticket for it. And then I went to go watch and I was like locked out of the room because there were too many people like already in the room. And so then I'm like, I literally paid more money so that I could for sure get in the room. Like,
Literally,
so it's
stuff
like,
like that is my worst nightmare. Like glitches like that, that's the kind of stuff that makes my fucking skin crawl. I
so
cannot.
it's really, and I have compassion for people who don't understand how things work. Like, I think this is
Sure.
a situation of like her not understanding that Zoom probably even like has a, like, you need to upgrade if you like want to make sure
Yeah.
everybody can get in there. And especially people who paid more money to be there. So just some of those things where you want to look at, okay, from a client experience, will this person buy whatever I'm doing at the end? Maybe not, because it's
Mm,
like I didn't have the experience pre-client that I was expecting. And not that I am needing somebody at my beck and call by any means, but
right.
it felt incongruent. And so client facing stuff is always my number one suggestion, because you just want to make sure that they're having a good experience. And most people who are messy on the back end, they're used to mess. So it's not like, I don't want to say they don't feel anything, but just that's kind of where they're at. So
Hmm.
then you can always hire somebody to come and clean it up because you'll have the money to give them because there's clients coming in and
True.
it's all good. So you can have somebody come in and then professionally clean it for you. So I
Hmm.
say,
Yeah, I
because
would
I
agree
also
with
don't
you
think like
completely.
business owners should be, sitting there organizing canvas or doing other stuff. Like, let's focus on the
Yeah.
on the big stuff. That's what you need to be doing.
Literally. That's like when I'm talking to my clients and I'm like, so what do our SOPs look like for our team? And
Mhm.
they're like, the ones that don't exist. And I'm like, okay, cool.
The
Alrighty then.
imaginary ones. Yeah.
Alrighty then. I know it's not fun. It's not shiny. Okay, so tell me, what is one system or process that you think a lot of people focus on or do prioritize that's a giant fucking waste of time?
This one has to do more with, again, the marketing you've chosen. A lot of times people will distract themselves by trying to add another marketing channel before they've
Yeah.
put a system in place and all that stuff with the current marketing channel that's working for them. So that's more of just like, again, shiny object syndrome, which I totally get. And there's lots of exciting things to be done and play with. And I would
Mm-hmm.
say, yeah, the biggest thing that I see that's a big distraction is, okay, like you're doing really well on YouTube or you're doing really well on X thing. And now I'm seeing you over here when, like, if this platform was really dialed in and like you were ahead on the content or you understood a batch system, then you can go and dibble dabble and see what the data says about a new platform. So I would say that's probably what I see most often is then people seeing their business crumble because they've literally just like let that ball drop with their marketing because they're over here spending time somewhere they can spend, but wait until you at least systematize the main money making platforms first.
Yeah, I love that. I have a sales program that's a 90-day sales program called Scaling Season. And I think it was in our second session when we were talking about like optimizing sales processes. And I said to them, I'm like, going back to data, I'm like, I want you to go back and I want you to look at the top 3 places that your clients and customers have come to you from in the last 3 to 6 months at least. And then instead of trying to do all these other things that you're currently doing, I want you to pour gas on those 3 things and see
Yes.
what happens.
Pour the gas.
But it is that like shiny object syndrome of like, ooh, this is new, this is fun, let's hop over here, let's do this thing. But it's like energy efficiency, people, right? If you're taking from there and you're putting over here, like you said, without optimizing first, there's going to be a downturn that we don't want to see.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for all of this today, all these tools. I feel like there's so many golden nuggets. I feel like we could really seriously record for 8 hours. I'm very excited to live in the same state as you and be IRL friends because I'm like, this girl and I are on the same page and she's brilliant. So I just want to say thank you so much for spending your time and sharing your knowledge today. Is there anything else that you feel like it's important for our listeners to hear from you today?
I think the biggest advantage you can have is getting to know yourself so deeply. That's something that a lot of people, when they meet me, are just like, you're so self aware, and not in the sense of just like, I don't know, the airy side of that, but it's more like, I went to a mastermind thing, and one of the activities was like a boat activity. Your girl gets motion sickness when I'm driving in the mountains. Like, there's no way I can do boats. And so I had already let the person know, like, hey, I'm going to opt out of that. Like, love it. I think it's a great idea. And also, that will ruin the rest of my experience. So I'm just going to let y'all go. I'm going to do a spa day and I'll see y'all for dinner. And what happened was, everyone came back and I was like fresh as a daisy, feeling relaxed, just great. And then there were some people who thought that they would get maybe a little bit of motion sickness, but then ended up getting a lot of motion sickness. And then like they were out the rest of the time because of that decision. And so, or they felt bad and were like, well, I know she like put a ton of time on this and I don't want to make her the people pleasing stuff. Right. And
Yep.
like, I just don't really ever feel the need to do that when I want to show up as my best self, which is always the best decision. Like, I want to be there and be a good mastermind participant. And I know that even this is fun and shiny. And again, the host worked really hard on it. I know what's best, not only for me, but also as the collective in that moment, is for me to step out and do what I need to do to make sure I'm good. So know yourself. And that's like a silly small example, but just know yourself and be able to show up more as yourself by advocating for yourself and knowing what is best for you and what's best for those around you without the people pleasing tendencies, without the FOMO stuff. Just let all that die, which I know is easier said than done, but it truly like is such a release. And like, I sleep well at night knowing that like the decisions I'm making are for best for me, my family, those who are close to me and around me. So yeah, I think it's not said enough. Just like know yourself and be okay with who you are, instead of me being like, let me take some Dramamine and let me try to show up like everybody else. Like,
Some
nope,
Dramamine.
we're not gonna do it. Like, it's not gonna work out,
Masterminding on Dramamine.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I
Not
love that. And
not ideal.
it's such a good example. It's such a good example. And you're so right. And I think all of us need to hear that at different times. So thank you for that permission. And where can everybody find you, follow you, buy from you, all the things?
All the things. Yeah, so Instagram is my number one jam. So that is System Saved Me there. Also System Save Me on Threads, and also just like my website, System Save Me. Like, it's basically just System Save Me everywhere, essentially.
Cool. Amazing. We'll put everything in the show notes for you guys. Thank you so much again, Jordan, for
Yes.
all of your little nuggets and your knowledge. And I feel like we're probably going to have to do a second episode.
I would love to. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it, Kelsey.